are our Father's sons. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as they say. And I will uphold the family name.
This is a fight for history and legacy. Let's talk about it.
When we saw your fathers together earlier, they refused to shake hands at the end of being interviewed. Would you shake hands together now?
Of course I would. No. This is not a time to be cordial. If there's ever a day that he comes clean about what happened and why it happened, why he failed those drugs tests, then we can talk about shaking hands. Until that time, no respect will be given to this kid. None.
Even though he's just magnanimous.
That was so hard for me to do, by the way.
Well, I know,
it was so hard for me to not slap you across the face when we had that face off. So hard. And my mum will be really proud of me because I promised I wouldn't do anything stupid. And I like to just point out that was so hard for me to do. Probably one of the hardest things I've had to do in a long time.
It's going to be a lot harder.
Oh, it's going to be easy.
This is two men coming together with a history between their families and the feuding. Connor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr., two men whose fathers fought in the 90s and brought about an Ali Frazier-like element to British UK boxing in the middle and super middleweight divisions. The sons have inherited the spirits of the fathers, and as a presser took place where Eubank Jr. smashed an egg across Connor Benn's face, it showed us exactly what really is underneath the surface of bitter rivalry. As these men appeared on the Piers Morgan show, they had a chance to air out their true feelings about one another. And you could see that Eubank Jr. was totally on board with continuing to press the issue that Connor Benn had been suspended for testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs. Benn has indicated that he has been vindicated and approved to continue with his career, but after serving nearly a 2-year suspension from the UK where he could not box. Eubank Jr. is stating he doesn't want to admit that he did something wrong and that there are consequences when you are involved in wrongdoing. But their fight is still going to take place, and the fight will be April 26th from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in Tottenham, the UK. Eubank Jr. brings his record of 34-3 with 25 KOs to the match, and he is looking to be vindicated himself for disposing of a perceived drug cheat in the sport of boxing. even through his conversation during the interview with Piers Morgan. The link will be in the description box. Eubank Jr. has pressed that is something that they're not totally dialing in on. Drug cheats in the sport of boxing. Conor Benn, on the other hand, stating quite over and over again that he has been resolved and cleared to go forward. So his record of 23-0 with 14 KOs. He fights out of the welterweight division, and he's bringing the best of what he has into this match, which is pretty much disdain for the Eubank brand. But that may not be enough, because being a welterweight, Conor is 5'8", and going into this battle, which will be at a catch weight for near middleweight, Eubank Jr. is 5'11". He's a much bigger man, has fought at the higher weight, and is a stronger man. But he's 35 now. And being 35 to Conor's 28, Ben may be on that edge of where he's on the downside of his career. Though he's never won a huge world title, he has held the IBO title, which is a newer sanctioned title in the sport of boxing. But these two men are two that don't need titles between them. It is only a shame that there is such weight diversity between the two, because if they were closer in weight, this could be something to really get excited about. But the promotion, the interviews leading up to this fight have been outstanding. If you've seen anything of Ali Frazier, you have seen quite a bit between these two men, because their dads did exactly the same thing. Now, Nigel, who has supported his son throughout this process, even though the son had been popped dirty for performance-enhancing drugs. Eubank Jr. had even alluded to the apple not falling far from the tree when talking of the two of them together, meaning he and Conor. The allegation there could possibly be maybe Dad was juicing too. And that's something that really rubs the Benn family the wrong way, because Nigel does have question marks attached to his career. And Chris Eubank Jr. spared no expense to bring the possibilities of that up. Now, Piers seemed to focus on what was going on between Chris and his dad, Eubank Sr., and trying to inquire and question whether or not his dad is going to be a part of this event, supporting him publicly, because they've been estranged in their personal lives, which is kind of interesting that Piers would press Chris on this, but would not address at all Conor Benn and his tainted substance situation, and not bring that to the forefront. So you could see where there's some needling on one side and being dismissive on another, similar to what's happening in the U.S. between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. So, in order to prevail in this bout, Conor Benn is not only going to have to be able to bring a fiery spirit, which he has that already, the disdain for the Eubank family, but he's going to have to bring ability to be able to defeat Chris Eubank Jr. and to leave him, as he said, rendered unconscious on the canvas. And if you notice that since 2022, April of 2022, he has had no stoppages in his 2 matches since that time. And that is something that is alarming, because he was beating and battering people prior to that in a way that all of a sudden it seemed to come from nowhere. Now, Eubank Jr. understands that he has had the experience of working with people like his dad, Roy Jones Jr., and Brian Womack McIntyre. These men have brought an assortment of experience, real life experience, and ring experience to his life. And we have seen Eubank Jr., though he has those 3 losses on his record, he has got to a place where he can be a better man and fighter. And hopefully his dad has recognized that, because there are dads who just won't let go when they've been involved in their sons' careers in the sport of boxing. But anyway, this is an event to look forward to when we talk about April 26th. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, the third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts. Peace to everyone, and everyone remain safe.